In the beginning of my message, I would like to briefly dwell on the general analysis of modern theories of the philosophy of medicine. The theory implies, the theory, not the practice, implies that the philosophical concepts that describe one or another scientific specialty should first reflect universal models that describe the methods of cognition and theorizing. This applies equally, for example, in philosophy of physics or philosophy of medicine, whatever. So that's what we or society or we as professionals could expect from the philosophy of medicine. And second, this model should offer sufficient explanatory potential to predict the challenges that a particular medical specialty, here global nutrition challenges, will face at least in the coming decades. But do we have that kind of an answer from philosophy of medicine nowadays? I really don't. Modern philosophical concepts, which are generally accepted in the philosophy of medicine, in my opinion, can be divided into two main categories. The first group, let's call them traditional. Let me push the next slide. That's an illustration. Traditional, those of them that continue to operate with the categories of norm and pathology as universal for medicine and public health care science. Here would first have a highlight the well-known theories of Christopher Boers, called naturalism, and, for example, Leonard Nordenfeld, called normativism. From the point of view of nutritional science, they go directly to the analysis of social and economic norms and standards. In accordance with them, it is possible to determine the norms and requirements for the structure of nutrition necessary for survival, which is, let's call it minimum, and comfortable implementation of the full entirety of social and biological functions. Let's call it maximum of a person. Following them, public health standards are built both in certain countries and generally accepted at the international level. The latter, in particular, reflecting the policy of in the policy documents of the United Nations, World Health Organization, UNICEF Foundation, whatever. Second group, here is in the right part of my slide, is so-called contemporary models. I just refer to the authors of particular models. These models in general tend to abolish the concept of norm and pathology as socially incorrect or socially discriminating. In particular, favorite model for analysis within these theories is the problem of the welfare of disabled persons. From the point of view of this concept of from the point of view of traditional concepts, which includes the declaration of the norm and pathology, they single out, for example, a physically healthy person and a physically disabled person who does not fully fulfill their biological functions. This modern theories lead to the fact that the last category of people, the disabled people, begins to be regarded as social marginals because of their inferiority. Kind of speculation, but that's what they say. But the abolition of the concepts of normal and biological pathology does not simply undermine the very foundation of medical theory and practice. The issue is that they cannot be implemented in the field of global health policy, especially in the field of global nutrition policy. Invented by people from economically developed countries, for example, one of the respectful doctors, Dr. Kukul, which I just mentioned in this slide, I had an order to meet in Georgetown University when I was there, and etc. So it's from the rich countries and for the rich countries. Let it put the question like that. They do not offer any tools for analyzing and assessing the degree of insecurity of citizens of many countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America with normal nutrition. The assessment of these challenges, that is the problem of malnutrition of the population of certain countries of the world, cannot be carried out at all within the framework of any of this contemporary philosophical and medical theory. From my point of view, the challenges for the philosophy of medicine should be the following. Because if we accept there is a science, something scientific around bioethics and philosophy of medicine, we should expect from this professionals in these areas certain explanatory models, which we can use as a universal one, as a global one. For that, we should change something in our philosophy of medicine. And my suggestion is, first, a recognition of dramatic social inequalities in different countries, which cannot be eliminated, just let's say honestly, cannot be eliminated in foreseeable historical perspective, but not prospective. We can state that the more we fight inequality, the more dramatic the inequality becomes. Then I would suggest that philosophers of medicine in this situation generally abandon the idea of any perspective, since it depends solely on economic and political factors. But the issue is that the equality of opportunities as a certain criterion cannot exist in practical analysis, either in a retrospective analysis or in prospective one, since will never be achieved, at least in our lives. Second, we have to admit very important thing. We have to, important is the adoption of ensuring human survival. Let me go to the next slide. As a basic social criteria for the analysis. Obviously, philosophers of medicine should make much more use of the conceptual apparatus that refers to social philosophy from the beginning of the 20th century. We should clearly define some set of criteria that would correspond to the real social, economic, and political circumstances in which the issue of global nutrition is decided in relation to the population of entire continents sometimes. In this case, I propose to take such a criterion the norms and patterns of consumption, which could be characterized as ensuring human survival, biological and social aspects. This term should be accepted as a basic social criterion in philosophy of medicine, describing the specific challenges of specific countries, of very many specific countries. Unfortunately, we have to admit that. Third, the concept of state and international guarantees available for the provision of minimally sufficient medical care and nutrition. It's also a very important challenge. We should work about that. Well, we should work on that norms. In my opinion, the third field of work for the philosophy of medicine can be the proposal of the specialists in the field of public health care of some concepts that would be at least honest. Honesty in this case is a direct realization that in the foreseeable future equality of consumption in the field of global nutrition between different countries of the world, the poorest and richest, will never come. Different criteria scales should be used to plan specific actions to combat the situation. That's a reality. Let's meet the reality. Let's not lie. Let's try to construct something constructive. Obviously, fighting, sorry for tautology. Obviously, fighting hunger in a conditional Central African country and discussing the issue of ensuring disabled people in the United States can only be done using different quantitative and qualitative scales. And we shouldn't come with the contemporary theories of philosophy of medicine when we didn't produce a normal basis of functioning of a fair international system of distribution. This could help the philosophy of medicine to pay attention not only to socially vulnerable individuals in economically developed countries, but also to a large part of the world population vulnerable up to their biological survival. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Is there any question for him?